The other thing that's really tough about this is that you're busy. And this was the problem I saw in John Lewis. And I thought it was a unique issue with John Lewis, of course, because I'd never worked anywhere else. And I've seen it everywhere else I've worked. I did a big piece of work in Southeast Asia last year with a medical logistic distribution business. I thought it was a different culture, different country, same problems, same crap going on. It was disappointing in a way. And that's this. Does that kind of make sense? Now, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands and embarrass anybody, but if you're sitting there thinking, that's me, you need to do something about it. And that will take you out of the 7 in 10 and put you into the 3 in 10. And what that quote means for me is that somebody is really wanting to work with their team and develop them and lead them. And I know I must do that, but I've got all this stuff happening over here, which is emails and meetings and all sorts of other stuff that distracts you. So I've got all these plates spinning over here, and as soon as I think I'm just going to get over there now and do that because I really want to do that, all of the plates started wobbling. And you never get there. You've got to unpick that. You've got to unpick that if you're sitting there thinking that's you. Now, the irony is, of course, with an hour this morning, I haven't got time to fully tell you how to unpick it, but I'm going to have a go and do a little bit in my experience of what will help. But think about that carefully, because if it's you, you need to unpick that before you start thinking about the leadership stuff, because it won't happen. It might happen in your head, but it won't happen in reality. You start changing your mindset of what's important, both culturally for the business at the leadership end, senior leadership end, and for you and your relationship with your team. And you start thinking about, actually, it's not what my team can do for me to hit my KPIs and hit my targets. It's what I can do for them to make their jobs as fulfilling, as engaging, as enjoyable, and increase their self-esteem as much as possible. So you reverse the traditional triangle. They're not looking at you, you're looking at them. What can I do for you? And that changes your priorities as a manager, if you really embed that philosophy. And you start thinking about the operational, functional stuff you've got to do, and that won't go away. That's the reality. But how much time you then spend on leadership of your people. And by leadership, it's, how's your mum? I heard she wasn't very well last week. How's your dog now they've had the operation? I know you're a bit upset about that. It can be as trivial as that, to actually sitting down with somebody when they've had a complaint about them and actually sitting and talking them through it in a really supportive way, but finding the time to do that and being explicitly aware of the time you spend on management, which is the email and the meetings and the functional operational stuff that comes with your senior roles, and the amount of time you spend on leadership, which is engaging and coaching and supporting your teams. Because this is just a nice idea unless you can get that split right. And I would love to say 50-50, but that's not realistic. I'd say 80-20. Isn't everything in business 80-20 these days? You'd like to make it a bit more than that, but 80-20 at least, which means 1 day a week, if you've got a reasonable sized team, coaching and mentoring that team. And don't just do it on Fridays, because that doesn't work. You've got to spread that across the whole week, so you're doing it when it's needed, and you're there to respond, and you're there to see when a response is required.